Hey guys, today we're doing something a little bit different, except it's not that little bit different because we did a Strat style shootout video a couple of weeks ago.
Bit the same.
It's a bit different because it's you know, single cut style guitars rather than double cut style guitars. So as you can see in the shot, we've got a few nice single cut electric guitars from a few different makes. And what we're going to do is just go through some different sounds. Again, it's not a, oh, we think this one's better, or whatever, you know, that's down to your own preference, etc, etc. And we just want to go through, you know, a few basic settings on each guitar and see what you think, and see kind of how they all compare to what I guess is the ultimate benchmark new guitar in a single cut. This is a 59 reissue Les Paul.
A particularly good one as well.
Yeah, it sounds really good. Super duper beefy. So Jack's doing the usual. He's got through playing through something a little bit more modern through the Mesa Boogie Triple Crown, and I'm using the Friedman Dirty Shirley. For a clean sound, I'm just going to roll the volume down on the guitar to try and achieve a clean sound, because the full volume sound is this. So just rolling it down for. So why don't we start off with the Gibson 59? So nice lemon burst finish Les Paul. You know, we was just playing around with it, you know, we was getting some sound set up earlier, and it was just right, wasn't it?
Well, it's just what you expect when you pick up that kind of guitar. The pickups are balanced, they're not too hot, they're not too... That's one of the biggest sort of gripes I have personally, is when, with this style of guitar, is when the pickups are just that little bit too hot.
Well, a lot of people compensate, don't they, for, you know, the pure amount of wood that's in this guitar, the weight, you know, not that this is a particularly heavy one, but a lot of companies will try and make the guitar thinner and use hotter pickups to try and get that extra depth and the extra gain, but it's just not the same as, you know, a good non-chambered mahogany guitar with some low output PAF style pickups.
Yeah.
Because when you roll the volume down, it does clean up, which you don't get from the super hot pickups sometimes.
Yeah, so for me, it's all about that sparkle. It's all about the top end kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I think so. Yeah. Oh, actually, Jack, come on, you can start us off. Actually, go on, you can get Boogie in first. You go first.
Okay. So yeah, I'm on channel 2 of the Boogie, which is kind of classic Brit style kind of tone. It's not too high gain or anything like that, and it's got that sparkle to the top end that I was talking about. So here's bridge pickup just straight into that channel. To the neck, it's still got it.
That's one of those sort of tones that's when you listen to Billy Gibbons on a lot of ZZ Top stuff, especially on that neck pickup there. It's hard to know on the old stuff if he was playing a Strat or the Les Paul.
Yeah, because again, when you're playing up high, if you just back off the volume a little bit. It's got all the detail that you might...
It's got the dynamics when you hit harder with the pick as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, so that's, for me, that is the benchmark of that kind of, for this style of guitar.
Yeah.
So yeah, you should hear it through the Friedman, because that did sound
good
as well.
Yeah, pretty beefy, didn't it? Okay, so I'm just going to roll the volume down to about 5 or 6 on the guitar. You know, like we said earlier, with the with this sort of pickup, vintage style pots, you can still roll that volume down and get a nice clean sound. And it's got that response, you know, you can hear when but it's just waiting to be. So now when you crank it up, so you can almost do the. So that's not touching anything. Got no
That's
pedals
like
on
having
the
a second
floor.
channel, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, and the same with the with the neck pickup for me. As a lot of the people that watch the videos and stuff know that I'm always at home a bit more on a Strat, but I kind of get a bit of a cleaner sound out of this guitar as well. Especially if I put a little bit of kind of a delay or something like that on there to kid me into feeling I've got like a little bit of reverb or something.
Yeah.
And then when you do crank it up, and if you hit it a bit softer with a pick, I'm so used to digging in really hard to try and get what I want out of the Strat. If you do hit it a bit softer, you still get that nice. But you can still dig in.
Yeah, it's that openness, isn't it?
Yeah, you can just hear the wood of the guitar, can't you, behind it all. That's what gives it that, that extra bottom end. And when we switch to some of these other guitars, a lot of these things are kind of, have got the vintage inspired PAF pickups and stuff, but don't know, like with the Strat demos and stuff that we did in that last video, they all sound super duper similar, but I've never really heard any of the other brands really nail a Les Paul sound. It's not to say that any of these guitars that we've got here aren't brilliant guitars, because they are. They're all really.
Yeah, and it's
well
also worth
guitars.
saying that I don't think any of these other guitars are really trying to do that either. They're all their own. They're not all trying to be a vintage Les Paul.
No, maybe this little kiddie here, Jack,
Maybe one or two.
from our friend Paul, Mr. Reed of Smithshire. Why don't you give that one a little twang? What model is that one, Jack?
So this is a 594, the single cut version. So spec wise, it's very similar to that Les Paul there. And tonally, it's going to do the same kind of thing. I really like these because they've got those really clear pickups. Bridge pickup, full up again. So down low is really clear, and then when you go up high, it's not going to get shrill. It's just it thickens up.
It's funny with all these things how all the different guitars make you play different, because you're digging in a bit more with this one.
Yeah.
I can hear that, out at the top end, it's got that nice contoured heel up there and stuff. You can get
it's arguably a little bit more modern feeling still. It's the profile of the neck is quite similar.
The fret job on PRS as well, that lovely rolled edge and stuff, it feels great, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's close to perfection, isn't it? So, but it will still do those classic sounds. It's just a little bit, like you say, a different approach to it. Plus, this guitar's got coil splits on the pickups as well, so it's a bit more of a modern. So if I do split the neck pickup, then you do get some of that kind of Fendery kind of quality.
Back to it.
I'll go back to the full humbucker.
Yeah, I mean, with PRS, even though the way that we buy them is when our good friend Jez comes down and we pick out a load of stock from what they have available and we try everything all out, they're really one of the very few brands that I'd be happy to buy for our stock completely blind and just say, look, get me a DGT and in a black cherry or another single cut in vintage sunburst, I know each one is always going to come through absolutely set up to perfection and playing well. I know a lot of people like to go up to the Gibson room upstairs with all the Les Pauls, 50 Les Pauls on display or whatever it is that we've got up there, and try and find the one that kind of suits them the most. And there will be one that you might not necessarily agree is the best sounding one, but it's the perfect one for them. That kind of is with those, every single one. If you like one, you will probably like the next one. It's
a little bit like what Sir is to the Fender style guitar, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So we touched on that, didn't we, in the Strat style shootout?
Have a play on that. Though.
Yeah. I mean, the feel of the neck and everything straight away when you pick up a PRS, almost feel like a guitar that's been really well played in over the years. The frets and the action, just spot on. Intonation, obviously. Guitars are always super ringy as well. Good weight to the body on this one as well, and let's just give it a go. Right, so I'm going to roll that volume down where we was again. See if we can do that. Bit smoother, I think.
Yeah, a little bit smoother. It's not quite as bulky.
It's that mid-range, the Gibson mid-range. It's so hard to try and get that.
Yeah.
And not everyone wants that because you can't dial it out either, can you? This would certainly do a good job for someone that's almost like into a little bit more of that Slash and kind of Gary Moore type sort of Les Paul.
It's a little bit more contemporary, I'd say.
Yeah, it probably handles the. Just quickly go over to the. Have we got the? Oh, actually no. Go on to the that channel that you was on, but do something a little bit higher gain with that toneless on as well. Okay. Just try some of that because I think that's going to respond really well to that.
Yeah, and also I'll try something that's super clean as well because I think this maybe spans a little bit more of that. That border.
That is, the Les Paul, the first guitar, it is what it is.
Yeah, basically. It's great.
And it's just screaming out for that mid-gain sound, isn't it?
Yeah, so this one, if I stay on channel 2, I'm going to put in a 1 platinumless for a boost, thicken it up, so neck pickup.
So it's pretty tight, holds it all together, doesn't it? Yeah. You're going to do a bit of clean as well?
Yeah, so I'll go to the clean channel, put a bit of delay on, just because it's got, I think, a little bit more maybe fidelity.
As well, Some of your posh chords, works on all your expensive chords.
So it does that as well. It's kind of best of both worlds, I think. Yeah. It's a really nice in between.
Okay. don't we go to something a little bit kind of, a little bit more modern, a little bit more kind of, well, I guess still touching on the PRS kind of vibe, is this lovely Knaggs guitar, built by our friend Joe Knaggs over in Maryland. I won't go into the story in the bio. We all know that he used to work for PRS, etc. But I've always felt that these Knaggs guitars they're not trying to be, you know, PRS type guitars. They're his single cut are great sounding Les Paul style guitars, and the same with his Strat style guitars. He's really going for that, you know, that real Fendery type sort of sound. They're not really kind of exact PRS type sort of guitars or anything like that, which is cool because PRS are great, but he does a fantastic job with these guitars. This is the new Eric Steckel model. I know Jack's done a few demos of some of these on the listings on the site. So it's the thicker body. It's got bare knuckle mules in it, UK built pickup, which we all know about already. But yeah, it's the full thickness Knaggs model. So the Knaggs model that they normally make is that little bit thinner. I don't know what the exact measurement is, but I would say it's roughly about ½ an inch, something like that. But it's a much thinner body, and you can see that's got a nice bit of chunk to it, and it definitely has added some extra depth and kind of weight to the sound. And even though it's got these vintage style pickups, Eric Steckel's more known for his blues metal approach. Is what he goes for, which is a real fast playing style with loads of kind of pinched harmonics. Reminds me a bit of like Zakk Wylde or something like that, maybe a little bit like that. So
yeah, it's that modern day American blues rock kind of thing.
It's fantastic. Right, let's go with this then. So we're straight back into the Friedman again. Let's roll it down. See, I really like that straight away. It's almost got a hint of telly to it, hasn't it, even more? Right, now I'm going to crank it up. Down.
Really thick.
Yeah, really thick.
But it's got the clarity.
Yeah,
as well.
super clarity. I really like that.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's kind of good. Still got its own sound, hasn't it? I think these pickups have got a real kind of wide range of tone and gain from the the pots. That is really twangy down
well,
there.
It's clean,
yeah, really clean.
Yeah.
Rocket Jack.
It does sound good.
Let's get some screaming blues metal, please.
Okay. I might even venture onto channel 3 of this amplifier.
Saucy mate.
Put a bit of the Tamness in. Some delay. Here we go.
Too fast.
But it's still dynamic.
Yeah.
it kind of veers into modern territory.
Yeah,
as well.
I really like it.
And there's one thing I was going to say about this that's always a vote of confidence for me is that as good as coil splits and stuff like that are, when a builder doesn't put it in a guitar, that's kind of like says to me they're confident in what they've done with these pickups in being versatile, and I think that's definitely true.
You can't play blues metal on a coil split.
Well, no, you could try, but
it's better on humbucker. Right, okay, so what have we done so far? We've got the 59 done. I'm just going to move 59 over here and conveniently grab this little one here, which is the 2018 Les Paul Standard from Gibson. Okay, do you want me to put that over there?
Yeah, cheers.
We can put him out of shot now.
Thank you.
So we've got, blue, cobalt blue, I think this is called. But this is absolutely stock, straight off the wall, 2018 Les Paul Standard. I'm just going to go through, the straight kind of Les Paul sounds rather than use any of the boost or the out of phase stuff or anything like that. That's a story for another day. But there's a straight Les Paul sound, so rolling the volume down again. A bit darker, isn't it? You kind of expect it was going to be a lot more gainier than that, don't you?
Yeah,
a lot
it's
more,
not at all, is it? It's
still got a nice bit of vintage inspired bite to it.
It's got that snarl in space.
There's lots of different flavours to all the different sounds, isn't there? Give that a run through, Jack.
Yeah, it's got that kind of very fluty neck pickup.
It's kind of I felt it was a little bit more, perhaps a little bit safe. It wasn't trying to go for super power on the bottom end or real bitey vintage kind of sound either. It was kind of pretty much in the middle. Yeah,
I think so. So let's play some chord stuff and see.
Mid-range, a little bit more polite.
Yeah, although it's still, when you, we were saying about the other guitar, when you really dig into it. It does snarl at you.
Pretty low output, isn't it? It's not all just power and no tone. It's got a nice bit of kind of wood behind it as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Nice easy guitar to play as well.
Very, much slimmer neck than everything else we've been playing so far. And you've got some of the modern sensibilities like the locking tuners and
there's an argument that a lot of guys who may play SIRS or PRS, customs or something like that, maybe at home on this guitar, which is one of the cheaper ones that we've got out of the whole range here, isn't it? So why don't we go for the last kind of purely traditional kind of single cut? Okay. And go with the Eastman next. Yeah, true. And then we can move on to some of these other single cuts that have got a few other little changes. And a few little tweaks, but still equally cool nonetheless. So Eastman, full mahogany body, the maple top. I think this guitar's 1399. Amazing sounding guitars. I love these. They're all hand built by real luthiers in Beijing, as opposed to robot luthiers in somewhere else. But they're made by real human beings, as they say in the BFG. So anyway, this one's got a great sounding set of Seymour Duncan pickups in there. Just roll through the tones. Let's do it. That delay's off, yeah. fat sound, isn't it?
Very, yeah. That's a big sounding.
Yeah,
guitar.
that is really beefy. I think that's probably tonally closest to the 59. I think so far.
Yeah,
Perhaps not quite so refined on the top end.
it's a little bit more mellow still.
Yeah,
But,
but for the price of that guitar.
Yeah, and it looks quite visually quite similar to the Gibson as well. So okay, I'll stand channel
Nitro
2.
finish as well. I don't know if I mentioned that already, but
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, all nitro.
yeah.
I would say that's probably one of the closest if you want that kind of vintage look and feel, but a little bit more of the modern kind of take on the
You don't want
tone.
to spend $5,000.
Well, that as well, yeah. Yeah, so that is kind of in the vein of the 59, isn't it?
That's well. It's certainly, even though it's by far the cheapest guitar, certainly holds its head up, doesn't it, with the rest of them?
Yeah.
Cool. Right. So why don't we go to? Why don't you give us a fire through of the Schecter?
Okay.
So we're kind of moving into a slightly different area, but this is supposed to be a single cut shootout rather than being a which one sounds the most like.
Yeah.
You know.
So it's a Schecter Solo Custom model. Is it Solo Custom 2? Something like that.
Something like that. What does it say on the head? Solo custom.
But I was very surprised. I was expecting it to be a really modern kind of sounding guitar, but it's not. You know, when you bridge pickup channel 2. That rolling down the neck pickup's really kind of it's almost like an acoustic kind of percussive quality.
I wonder if there's a treble bleed or something on that, because that's really
like
nice and clean. See, that's like, I guess that would be sacrilege for a lot of vintage purists, but that would work much better.
Yeah, well, that's where it starts to veer into what actually works in a band.
That's right. If you just want to be a snob.
Well, there's always a time.
We're all a bit of that. There's a bit of that.
But it's got loads of clarity, as well as it's quite thick when you dig in. But it's got that kind of attack that.
It's definitely on like the bitier side of like the Kossoff and Jimmy Page.
I think
sort
so.
of tones, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, let's try it through the Friedman. It's not. Yeah, it's really nice. Again, you know, with Schecter, they do some of the best fret work you can ever get your hands on, really, and the setups of all their guitars are always so good. And if this was something that was coming out of Gibson or even like the PRS private stock, you'd be talking, you know, absolutely thousands more. And Schecter really offer really good bargains in comparison to
very good value.
You know, what else you can see out there. So let's put this back on. That's the 2 volumes and 1 tone. It passes the test. Yeah, it's got it, hasn't it? Let's roll that up there. Let's go there. That's a really nice sound in the middle.
That's great. I think that fulfills what most people are looking for in that kind of guitar.
Yeah,
It's got the smooth, soft neck pickup,
Yeah,
super clear middle, and then the bridge is quite angry and
and it
punchy.
it really plays like a modern guitar. You don't feel like you're playing something that was designed 50, 60 years ago. It's got a modern feel, even though it's quite a large, kind of a large neck profile on this. It's still pretty flat at the back, so it works well if you are a thumb over the top player like me, or you know, or if you're a more traditional, you know, thumb behind the back. It's still, you know, easy access up the top end, and still a really nice, easy guitar to play as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like their guitars. Really, really like them. So right, we're moving into things that are a little bit less traditional. I know I've said that already, but why don't you grab out the Eggle there?
Yeah.
So this is one of Patrick's Macon models. It's got a really nice open-grained kind of finish on the back there. Same with the neck. You know, a lot of these guitars, I think this is the only one that's got a satin finish. Is it the only one, or is there any more? Yeah, no, they've all been gloss, haven't they? Yeah. So this is the only one that's got a nice satin finish on the back, which I know more and more people are asking for when they come in the shop and they check out guitars. You know, you go and play something like this with a nice satin neck on the back, and then go to something that's got a vintage nitrocellulose lacquer finish, and it can feel kind of like a little bit hard work. But let's give this one a go. So this has got a set of UK made Mojo pickups in there. Let's see if it passes the ZZ Top test. This is going to sound big, this guitar, I can tell. This was the other Eggle in our Strat Shootout caught us kind of by surprise. Well,
Yeah.
not by how good it was, but it was just like,
It's a bit
got
different.
really
isn't it?
something different, yeah. Oh, it's got a real savage mid-range, hasn't it? And of course with this one, it's got a P90 in the neck as well. So again, we were saying a little bit less traditional, but it's going to work really, really well for a lot of people that find a normal humbucker in the neck to be too muddy. So. Got that, hasn't it? And a bit of extra drive on there with that bridge humbucker. Spinal Tap there.
It's got the snarl,
Yeah.
which you don't normally associate necessarily with a Les Paul.
No.
I don't think.
No. This see how it works with something a bit more modern, kind of
Yeah.
toned.
And I mean, you were giving it some big bends there,
Yeah.
and it's still it's holding in there tuning wise. So if you go to channel 3 and go for something a bit more modern. Split personality there, just on one channel. Really tight sounding.
Yeah, it's pretty vicious sound.
That's really nice.
It's got plenty of power and bass though to back it up with. It's not all.
Yeah, and it will still do the thick kind of Les Paul thing. This sounds a little bit more like 80s Les Paul to me.
Yeah, it's got an ebony fingerboard, I think, on that one as well.
Right.
Perhaps adds a little bit of that extra Les Paul custom.
Yeah, the zing.
Vibe into it.
Yeah, but
a bit of extra presence.
I think it's really nice.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right, so the last single cut that we're going to kind of have a little twang through. Yeah, it is a single cut. I know it's a Gretsch, so it's going to sound a little bit more zingy, zingy, zing. But this range of guitars, these BTs were some of my favourite guitars from the 2018 NAMM show. Really good value for money. Yeah. Again, you know, it's more about it being a duo jet type sort of shape rather than going for the traditional single cut kind of you know, Les Paul sound. But I thought it'd be a good idea to include these guitars in the demo because I'm sure there will be some people that love Gretsch that want a little bit more of a Les Paul-y type sort of sound, and vice versa basically. Yeah. So we'll give this one a run through, see how we get on. Right, let's go back to there. We know the Rev likes a little bit of a Gretsch action from time to time, doesn't he? So let's try it. A little bit of extra wire behind it. That sounds great. It sounds awesome, doesn't it? It's really, really great. What a great fun guitar to play. And it kind of, all these other guitars, I know we spoke about it at the start a little bit more, they kind of make you play in a kind of a different way. And this one does, but I was surprised kind of how close to a Les Paul it did actually sound as well. It was pretty, well, yeah, it didn't sound thin or weedy in comparison, did it? Let's give that a roll. But I mean, I remember when we demoed this guitar, this is one of my favourite guitars that I've played this year for a number of reasons, but it does that kind of classic rock thing. So if I stick on channel 2 of the amp and like you were just doing. You got a bit more articulation out of these pickups as well, haven't you? Sounds great, doesn't it? And then even on the clean, you know, it's got something different to offer. It's almost like a kind of a hum cancelling P90, isn't it? It's got that sort of it's got that kind of thing. Zing.
consider it's kind of compulsory to play a bit of AC/DC on some,
Well, of course.
some Gretsch guitars with some gains.
Angus and Malcolm in one.
Yeah, but that's a viable alternative, I think. If you're not 100% sold on the kind of Gibson school,
Yeah, and these retail for around the £2,000 mark as well. So.
They are really, really nice guitars. Loads of nice colours on them as well.
Yeah, and they do left-handed options on it as well, which isn't the case for all of these different ones, I don't think. But especially not the PRS. I don't think I've seen any single cuts for a fair while in lefty. But
No.
But there you go.
So I might be being a bit biased with this one, but I do think this is great.
Yeah, well, it's another one of those guitars that if you're more of a single coil player, I think if you pick that up, wanting to get into the single cut sort of tones, you're not going to feel alienated that you've got this huge kind of, log of wood hanging around your neck. It's still got kind of almost like a Strat Telly type sort of neck on it as well, hasn't it?
It does, and it's nice and lightweight.
Locking tuners, etc., etc. So. Yeah, it's a cool guitar, I like that.
And we got one more.
Oh, we did have one more.
About.
Oh yeah, okay. Poor old Patrice. You'll tell me off. I can't play Vigiers.
You can.
I can't.
You can, because last week or whenever we did the Strat style ones, that Vigier really was a surprise.
Yeah.
It did sound good.
Well, it's the same thing again. It's a single. I'm interested to kind of hear how this is going to sound. I reckon it's going to work really well through the Boogie, but perhaps not so much through the Friedman.
Well, I'll hit a couple of chords and we'll see what we got to channel 2. So it's quite snarly, and it's not as the pickups aren't as hot as I was thinking they were going to be.
It's still pretty tight sounding, isn't it? Try the like the real high gain sound with the boost on as well.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that kind of a Nuno type sort of sound. It's got that loads of sizzle and
it's got
loads
all the
of guts, hasn't it?
Yeah, and you hear all the clarity when you pick it. But it does also kind of do the thick neck pickup-y type thing. It's a roll the tone off a bit, and it'll do the your Gary Moore type. So I don't know exactly what the target audience of this guitar is meant to be, but it will do that.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's a million miles away, does it? That it's like the real standout. Oh, this one's not kind of hitting the spot. Let's try it. Let's see if it passes the Betty test.
I think it might.
Yeah, I guess this has probably got the treble bleed on there as well. Everyone's going to be sick of this riff. Yeah, so it still does the trick there as well. So add on a little bit more vintage gain, kind of smooth it out a little bit. It's too easy to play for me, my crappy style. Just so easy. stupid things.
Where did that come from?
I know, stupid bad things I shouldn't be doing. Anyway, so giving you a bit of an overview of some of the different single cut guitars that we've got. You all hear that they're all completely different tonally, you know, which why wouldn't they be? Got a favourite, Jack?
Well, I'm inclined
you're going to
towards
say
the Les Paul.
Yeah. Is it? Do you think it's because your ear is just more attuned to that sound?
Probably. I mean, I've had a.
And would you pass the blindfold test?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I said, none of them are trying to be anything exactly, are they?
No.
Each
of these guitars has definitely got something to offer.
If you want something that's in the Les Paul kind of vein, but just want it a bit different, a bit more contemporary, that's the one for me, I think. But then something that's completely different is that Gretsch.
Yeah.
And everyone's a winner.
Yeah, I think that Gretsch is the sort of guitar that you could still manage to sneak on the list if you've already got a Les Paul.
Yeah.
As well. Because it's different enough, but not kind of
thinking about
away.
it.
Yeah, no, it is cool.
What
it's
about
very,
for you?
very cool. Yeah, I mean, it's got to be the 59. I did really like the Knaggs though, as well. It's kind of got, has got that, but it's got something a little bit more kind of edgy about it, but still not like in a harsh modern, you know, modern kind of gain sound sort of thing. So why don't we do something, a little jam out now.
Thank